And thank you so much for joining me here at One Nation Weather. I'm going to be talking about dangerous storms that are coming to parts of the country, moving out of the plains and pushing on off towards the south and east. We could see some severe weather outbreaks come out of this, and we're also looking at the potential for dangerous rainfall, where we could see some totals 2+ inches of rain in a short period of time. So we've got that cooler air and the heat wave interacting, and storms right between them. So let's go ahead and hop right on in. And as you can see, your Thursday, August 3rd has this severe weather risk, with the potential of that enhanced risk coming out of portions of eastern Colorado and pushing on over into Nebraska and the northwestern tip of Kansas. That does include Goodland, where we could see in that hatched area some 80 to even 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts. Wow. Let's play out these storms for us here using radar Omega. You can see, first of all, this is early in the day. You can see these storms wrapping back around in places like Salt Lake City, Utah. But the risk zone is obviously going to be ahead of the cold front, which is going to be developing right here. And as you can see, that's where our southerly flow is going to be. So let's go ahead and play this out into the afternoon hours. And you can see our first storms begin developing right around mid-afternoon, so 3, 4, 5 o'clock for us in Central Time. And you can see some of these initial cells. While the tornado threat can't be ruled out, it's pretty low. It's looking like the best threat at that time will be for some hailstones, as well as a 60 to 70-mile-per-hour wind gusts. But notice as this progresses eastward into that enhanced risk zone, these storms are really going to start to form into these bow segments. We might have a couple of those getting going here, which is where we're going to be watching out for the best chance of those 80, maybe even 90-mile-per-hour wind gusts to get going at that point. And then as we go into the overnight hours, so by the way, this is around 10, 11 o'clock. Then as we go into the overnight hours, we continue to see that MCUS push off towards the east, and then notice how that falls apart, but still some rain for Kansas City as we work our way into our Friday. Flooding risk right here is going to move into portions of the southeastern zone as we have that shield of rain left over from those complexes of storms in the Midwest, but we'll also have some flooding going back into portions of Wyoming, as well as the plains, as this heat bubble really develops to the south of that. As you can see, some 100+ degree readings continuing into portions of the Arklatex, as well as there into Oklahoma. This is just going to be some intense heat. Some rain totals surrounding that ridge will get all the way up to 6 inches. Some of those deeper purples you see up there into portions of the Dakotas, Montana, Wyoming, and then also into the southeast, we could see some of those 4 to 6 inch rainfall totals, certainly causing some brief flash flooding. Saturday morning, and we get a new disturbance to develop as this old set of cold fronts really starts to push off to the Atlantic shoreline for us here on the East Coast, and we're going to continue to see that as we go into our Sunday. But look at this, your Saturday risk for severe weather is that 15%, so at least a slight risk expected there. Alright, so let's go ahead and play things out using radar Omega here as we head our way towards this Saturday. So as you can see, we've got this area right here with a new low pressure system developing back out into portions of the Rockies. This is the area we're going to be watching for some of that severe weather as we go into our Saturday afternoon. I'm going to play this out using the GFS model, and you can see the GFS has these storms a little bit further east than initially expected, but right now I think this zone into portions of southern South Dakota, portions of Nebraska, as well as into Kansas, and then heading eastward from there will be the best chance for some of that severe weather. Now, as we continue to play this out from there, you can see this system really continuing to push off towards the east, and that's going to be the story as we go into Sunday. I think the Mississippi River Valley is going to be the best chance for severe weather, and then as we get all the way over in towards our Monday, we're going to see this begin to push on off towards the east coast, where we'll watch some of the southwesterly flow push some of these storms on up into the Ohio Valley and northeast. And hopefully this system will be offshore. But look at this, we continue to see storms even as we go into our August 8th, which is as we start next week, still along the East Coast, so we'll be watching that closely. As if that isn't enough, the Euro indicates more storms moving into portions of the plains as we head towards next week. So this pattern is going to be getting old, but it is going to be bringing in some of that relief to the northern tier from the heat waves that have been continuing. The cooler air will spill in behind each of these fronts, but the warmer that develops out ahead of each one with that southerly flow coming out of that heat wave will allow for the brief warm-ups. But overall, that cooler is going to dominate, as you can see with the 8 to 14-day temperature outlook. A good bit below average there in portions of the central plains, and then also over to the Great Lakes, at least a little bit below average, northeast near average. But look at how that heat wave spreads into the mid-Atlantic, curls back around into portions of Texas, and then also goes up into portions of the Pacific Northwest. One other thing I want to watch is this heavy precip that continues into portions of the tropics as some tropical waves kind of mesh together with some of those cold fronts, so that is certainly something to keep an eye on. But for now, here are the credits. Please like and subscribe.